Well, I think we're back up right now. Sorry for the delay. We had an Adobe hiccup, and that's the way it is. Well, good morning to you once again. Quick review where we were. We have a first buy is 17 to 13 for the T-note. Buy 2 will be 5 to 9. I think we'll get a little pressure from the E-mini. Looks like it's pointed higher this morning. We're going to make the sell 21 to 25. Pretty aggressive, but we're leaning against this structure where the bottom where we broke down at 22. So we'd like to do it at the top end of the range, and then we'll make 27 to 31 for sell 2. As we said, Chicago PMI, it's Chicago Business Activity Index is forecast at plus 0.2. and LEI at plus 7, and with the automobile sector, just like last week, as strong as it has been, these numbers could come in higher than forecast. It's a big earnings week for stocks. These large Fortune 500, they're not meeting their revenue numbers, but they're all pretty much meeting their earnings per share. They've got a lot of flexibility and leeway to do that between what they put into reserves, etc. So most people feel that earnings per shares will be met or beaten by at least 70% of the companies. So we have a big earnings week, and this is countered by the 2 through 7 year auctions. So we can have some more selling today. Friday's market got whacked really, really hard by dealer selling. I think the open interest jumped about 50,000 contracts to the short side intraday. With a 50-lot seller, that's how they support auctions. They buy those contracts back. So we could have one more day of selling before we get into the 2 year. But the 2 through 7 year auctions usually a pretty good one. So the pattern is up during auction week, down during the week prior to it, and we had 1 day of selling. That was Friday. Europe is closed. Monday, Easter holidays. I'm not sure if the UK is or not. Volumes overnight were pretty darn low, like maybe 25% of what they normally are. Here we are, pointed a little bit lower. Like to buy the 13 to 17 area than 5 to 9, and we'll see what happens. The 30-year, we'll touch on that. The spread has come in, the knob spread has come in a couple of ticks, couple of 30 seconds over the weekend. We went out at 10:06, I think it was 10:04 this morning, maybe we went out at 10:10. So here we are. The buy area, will make it the same on the 30-year. Get it up on the screen here. Fitz, are you guys allowed to go to church in the UK these days, or is it frowned upon? And so, well, maybe Easter's not frowned upon, but I know regularly it probably is. Okay, on the ZB, we'll make it a little bit lower, 17 to 13 by 1. There's about 10 points difference between the two on the knob spread. And then 5 to 9. There's not a lot of news, so if the E-mini takes off and runs to the upside, the market, the financials can suffer a little bit. Last rotate up in the financials was 25.26, so we'll make 24.28, sell 1. Pretty aggressive. And we do have the knob spread, then 31 to 03 for sell 2. I gave up this weekend. I am no longer waiting for that. We had a frost very, very close to it over the weekend, but I said spring has sprung. I put all the bulbs out that I've been saving, so I think I have 20 more bulbs, give or take, to plant, and my spring plantings are done. So if we get another frost, some of those goodies will be in trouble. Looking at gold, it's off. Perhaps peace in the Ukraine and Russia. I mean, the announcement out of Europe wasn't. Germany is saying, hey, this isn't this big a deal. We can work through it. We can get some money to Russia for the Ukrainian gas. Let's talk this thing out. And the United States is mumbling and rumbling about possible sanctions, and one of the guys' names that came up for sanctions wasn't Russian sanctions, it was Putin sanctions. Supposedly has $40 billion stashed in Switzerland and other parts, and they could put sanctions against those. And that would really, really hurt when you get in, want to really, really pressure a country like Iran. You pressure the personal bank holdings of the rulers of Iran. In the first place, you go with Switzerland. But there's Bahrain, there's Dubai, there's lots of places around the world where these guys can hide their money. And that's one way to get after them. Okay, we have this high volume area at 85. It's been our attractor. We got a low volume area down here in the 77 areas. So 75, 77 will be buy 2. I don't think any progress was made in the Russian-Ukrainian talks. I think we are where we are. I think Russia is still having their surrogates, quote-unquote, ethnic Russian Ukrainians do their fighting for them, but they're probably Russians wearing civilian clothing. And that's how it's done. You send in special forces, commandos, that type, and they infiltrate. And there's a lot of support in the Ukraine for Russians. Not too hard to infiltrate and do that. And then you cause trouble and you've got your excuse to go across the border. So I don't think gold, I don't think the issue is resolved. So 90.92 will be sell 1. 95.97 sell 2. On the buy side, 80.82. And then 75.77. I think we'll find buyers on gold as we go lower. And we'll probably find sellers against the buck. So got pretty good resistance at 1,300 even. Got pretty good support, 75 to 80. Okay, looking at the euro, it was pretty quiet overnight. When I started looking at about 5 this morning, it was unchanged. So nobody really got after it in a big way. With Europe and the UK on holiday today, the currency markets start in London and on the continent. So you got major players not at their desks. Probably not a hell of a lot could go on one way or the other. So I'm looking for a range trade here. Buyers against 138, sellers against 138 in a quarter. Kind of quiet trading this morning. We closed week on Friday. I think the natural course of this market is lower, but it hasn't happened very quickly. So buy 1's going to be in this 138 area. Buy 2 in the 75 area. Sell 1, 25 to 35. Sell 2, 45 to 55. And don't look for much action today. Crude. See where everybody is starting to talk about the price of crude. It's pretty evenly across the United States above $3.50 a gallon right now, and summer driving season is part of that. Just normal seasonals, they run it up April, May. Usually the peak gasoline price as far as futures go are May. It takes about 60 days to get those barrels from the refineries and storage into somebody's gas tank, which takes you into July, the peak of driving season. So they discourage consumption by running prices up in the spring. So we're looking at normal seasonals. The other side is, the potential for war, the drumbeats of war. And I don't think the drumbeat of war has gotten any louder for the last week, and certainly not over the weekend. So we are where we are. We are a B. We are pointed lower. We've got pretty good support here right where we are right now. So we are at support. It is aggressive. Buy one, 75 to the buck. Buy two, 25 to 50. On the sell side, we'll make it 50 to 75. Sell one. Then 104, 104 and a quarter for sell two. And we'll adjust that as we move along, see what the opening rotation brings us. It is Monday morning, and sometimes it takes a little bit for the markets to settle in. Normally, and with Europe on holiday, it might take longer. And our favorite market, the E-mini. Finally got the volatility. We do have a two-sided market, although the selling sure doesn't last for long. But we do have a two-sided market, and the market is pointed higher. And the impetus behind the buying is supposed to be earnings week. Earnings are supposed to be better than forecast, or at least equal to that. And again, in the stock market, it's with the Fortune 500, they have so much flexibility with reserves for this and that, that they don't have a hard time meeting earnings per share forecasts. Where they have the hard time is meeting revenues. And in a really, really good stock market with economic growth, you'd like to see revenues moving higher as well as earnings per share, and we don't have that. So we have stability in earnings per share. We have them meeting the forecast, but we don't have growth in sales. So right here we are. We got resistance 63.65. That'll be sell one. It is resistance. There's no magic there. And 69 to 71 will be sell two. Got to take out 65 to hold the length. I think there's probably pretty good support at 50 and 55, so we'll make 55, 57 on the idea that we could trade higher first. Buy one. And then buy two, 50 to 52. Leaning against 50, I think, is a pretty safe area to get long, but we've got this low volume number here at 55, and that could be support. And you can see that we've rejected prices below 58. So we got the 55, 57 is pretty good buying area, and then 50, 52 I really like. If they are going to take the market up, they usually make you pay up, and that's going to be the first feedback we get. First sell will be the 64, 65 area. Second sell will be 69, 71. And the market could easily trade higher. Okay, it's going to take about 20 minutes to get everything out this morning with the delays that we had. I'm going to get busy on that right now. And I'll see you all in a bit. We'll update after the news. We do have the Chicago news at 8:30. Then at 10 Eastern, we've got LEI. In a bit.